Hello guys and welcome to another video on my channel. In this one I'm going to show you how to master daily race C, and the combo I'm going to be showing you for today and for this week's daily race combo is daily race C at Grand Valley Highway 1 in reverse, and we are using the Gr3 cars. So what I'm going to be showing you in this video is first I'm going to talk about the race settings, then I'm going to talk about what I think is useful for time trial, as in the best car for time trial, and then I'm going to talk about what I think the best race cars are. After that I'm going to be going over I'm going to be showing you my fastest qualifying lap in TT, followed by the detailed lap after that. And then finally, I'm going to show you a race I did from the back of the grid with commentary in the background. So now, let's get into the race settings. Right, so here is the race settings as you can see here. So we have 11 laps here. It's a 16 car starting grid, and it's a rolling start. The rolling starts, I think the leaders start about here, and last place starts about here. So it's actually a pretty good rolling start, since you'll be flat out mostly up to around this point, where you may have to brake early and, not hit cars ahead. But more on that as we get to the race. It's times 2 fuel, times 3 tyre. Fuel, we don't have to worry about, because even though we start with 100% fuel, we finish the race with, I think, around 40 to 50% from memory. So don't have to worry about fuel. And it's times 3 tyre. Doesn't sound like a lot, especially on this track with quite a few medium and slow speed corners. However, we are using the racing soft tyres, as you can see here. So it is actually quite a lot of tyre wear, considering we are using the soft tyres. We'll talk more about the strategy in a minute. So like I said, we're in Gr3 cars, mid-speed BOP on this track, and we are allowed to change the brake bias. The RNS are affected, like damage of course. So if you get damage, it automatically repairs after 20 or 30 seconds. We don't have to make a pit stop. Normal track limits, shortcut penalties on week. So basically, if you get a penalty, you'll get a small penalty for it. So don't do shortcuts, basically. And there's also a roll collision penalty. So the only area you may get a roll collision penalty on, in my opinion, is probably in this sector 1 bit here. But without further ado, that is the race settings. Now I'm going to talk about the time trial car. So as you can see, it's just gone past 12 o'clock in the at lunchtime area for the UK. So the combo's been out for a good 6 hours or so now, I believe. And as you can see on the leaderboard, the top car is the 4GT at the moment, which is Wind, and then followed by Bino in the 4C, and me in the Ferrari, Porsche behind me, etc. In my opinion, the best time trial cars for this, in my opinion, will be the Alfa Romeo 4C, because that car's just got really good early acceleration and traction, and it's got really good low speed handling. So I think it's going to really suit this track. Audi R8 should be decent here as well. I think the Citroen by GT will be very good here as well, just because, again, it's got really good traction, really good acceleration, and it's got decent handling as well. Porsche should be okay. Ferrari, of course. 4GT as well. I think if I was to rank based on what I think the best time trial cars will be, I forgot to mention another car, but I'll mention it now. So, I think the best cars will be the 4C, the Citroen, and you don't really see it yet, but I think the Peugeot RCZ here will also be one of the top cars for time trial here. After those three, I would say probably something like the 4GT, the Ferrari 458, the Porsche 911, and Audi R8, and the McLaren 650S. I think those will be the next best cars. So I would recommend to use any of those cars I just mentioned now for time trial. In my opinion, the easiest of the bunch to drive and maximize pace is probably the car I'm in, the 458. Maybe a bit sketchy on the rear as you go through fast direction changes, but other than that, really easy to get on the power in this car compared to most of the cars. I think Citroen's another car that's not too hard to drive. 4C's probably not too hard to drive. I think 4GT's a harder car to maximize. Same with the Porsche, in my opinion, just because of the way you have to be careful on some exits in that car, I'd imagine. 650S as well, you have to spam the full throttle to get any sort of laps on that car as well. So that's, in my opinion, the time trial cars. In my opinion, the race cars, I'm going to quickly go to the reference feature here. I'm going to quickly talk about what I think the best race car is. So in case you didn't know about the strat, sorry, let me just quickly go back here. Times 3 tyre wear on softs, and it's not a mandatory pit stop. Now, this is an extreme, and I mean an extreme tyre saver. So, in my opinion, you need a car that's got both good front tyre wear and rear tyre wear, which, in my opinion, there's about 3 or 4 cars that fit into that category. So, let me just quickly go through them now. I'll go from the bottom of the list to the top. So, in my opinion, First good car here is, for me, the Citroen by GT. That car's got probably one of the best front tyre in the game. It's really not the best, but it's decent enough that I think it'll last throughout the race if you don't have oversteer and you save tyres in the fast direction, change corners in sector 1 especially. So I think that's probably the best race car in my opinion. Second car, and probably the very underrated choice for the race, is the Mazda RX Vision. The race is very good on this car, and if you're able to save the front tyres really well in the race, this car will probably have the best tyre wear on lap 11, the last lap where you'll be going for the moves. So I think that's going to be an underrated choice. Third best car, not third best car, but third car I think is useful is the McLaren 650S. Again, that car's really stable, so it'll have good rear tyre wear, and if you don't put a lot of steering into the fast corners, this McLaren will easily make the race as well with good tyre wear. Another car, I think the Ford GT could do the race, to be honest, with decent tyres at the end. Again, similar to McLaren, just save tyres in high-speed corners and don't oversteer, etc. The basics, basically. Two more cars. So 4C, of course, that'll have okay rears. It may struggle a touch with rears at the end, but if you're careful with them, should be viable and good in the race. Last but not least, PRC said, probably one of the best cars on tyres for this race, in my opinion. So that is the race cars now. Now I'm going to show you my best qualifying in time trial, followed by the detailed lap after that. I would appreciate a like and a sub as well if you find this video helpful and enjoyable to watch. But now I'm going to show you my fastest time trial lap time. Cheers, guys. Alrighty guys, so I hope you enjoyed the fastest lap I've shown you. Honestly, pretty good lap I think. I think the end of S2 was pretty terrible though. For the rest of the lap, I think I will be able to describe to you the good references for those corners because I think I did those corners really well in time trial on the lap I've just shown you. I think this Ferrari personally can do a 145.9 at least on the controller. On the wheel, maybe a 155.8. It's hard to say because I don't use a wheel, of course. I use a controller, in case you guys don't know. So I think the theoretical max for me in this car is a 145.9. The lap I just shown you was a 146.187 from memory. But now let's get into the time trial lap time. Do you want to rep out fifth quite a bit here? I think it was around 157 mile an hour. I changed up to sixth here. First corner. There's this 100 marker here. I turn literally as I get to it. So I've just started steering now. And this is easily flat in this car. Try not to put too much steering in because if you put a lot of steering in this car in a high-speed corner, it does tend to slide a bit just because this car struggles with the fast direction changes just because of the weight distribution. So you want to try and minimize the steering, but obviously you need enough steering to actually make the corners. I would recommend about 30% steering here. Easy flat. Get as close to the gravel as possible on the right, or stand, whatever it is. Minimise steering as well, especially if your right tire is over this right line. There's a touch less grip, so the car tends to slide a bit more. So in my opinion, you can actually get away with turning even less here. Just to maximise speed, you want to be about 163 miles an hour at this point here. At some cases, also 161 miles an hour because I was steering too much. Try to aim this bit 163, and this bit you want to aim, get as close to the barrier as possible. You want to aim to be 161. All of this easy flat. This corner comes up very quickly. I'm going to pause it right now. So this is a 400 marker here, and there's this 300 marker here. I'm braking about 330 whatever unit America uses. I'm braking about here. So basically where this big part of this cliff is here, nearest to you. I'm braking about 330, 340. I want to say yards. Are they used here? So I'm braking at that point here. I'm going to be braking a straight line. I'm going to be downshifting third. You want to do slow downshifts as soon as you get down to third gear, because if you downshift to second straight away, the car's rear will snap and slide. So you need to be in third gear just to keep it stable. So right here, get as close to these bollards as possible without touching it, because if you touch it, I believe it's a penalty, because your right wheels will be over the right line at this point. You want to be third gear, and I believe I was aiming to be about 73-ish miles per hour, I should say. And then as you get to the exit, you basically want to straight line it so that your car is heading towards the inside of this right part here. You may bounce a bit, so as soon as the car has landed from the bounce and you start to stabilize the car, you can then downshift to second, and you want to be aiming to be about 57 miles an hour to 60 miles an hour on this corner, depending on how you did the first part of the chicane now. If you're very wide on the first part, you need to be about 55, 57 miles an hour, but you can take it to about 59 or 60 miles an hour in this car. Again, get as close to this board as possible. Try to be careful and patient on the throttle, because the rear end can snap here. This corner, very hard to see, but basically as soon as they see the tunnel beginning, I brake at that point, maybe slightly earlier. So any second now, I'm going to be braking. There you go. As soon as on bumper cam you get into a tunnel, as soon as you can't see this part of the wall, brake very gently. I'd say 20-30% trail braking, and let the car coast here down to about 60 miles an hour. Stay very close to the inside as well, because I think it's slightly cambered as well. As soon as the corner starts to widen out, go on the throttle. Full throttle in this car, no problem, in second gear. First sector I did a 31.8. The best I did was a low 8. I think I did an 8.17 one lap, so it's about half a tenth in the first sector for me. This corner, this is 200 marker. I'm braking a car width after it, basically, so I'm braking about here. When's the ABS light showing? There you go. As you can see, just past a car length ahead of the 200 marker here. Again, I'm going to be, as soon as I start to brake, I'm basically going to be turning to the left. You want to be as close to the right line as possible without touching it, because there is less grip once you go above the right line on either side of the track here. Exit in second or third, I honestly don't really notice a time difference really. I think second might be a bit quicker, but it is harder to do, of course, because you're having to deal with more torque. Again, try not exceed this white line, because you may get slightly dirty tyres. I was aiming to be about 80-ish miles an hour from memory here. This corner, I've just broken, but I basically broke a car length before this sign here on the right side of the track here. You want to coast this car and trail brake very gently in this corner. Again, try not to exceed the white lines on either side of the track. So get as close to this white line as possible, and you want to exit about 60 miles an hour here. This corner, try not have your left tyres above this white line, because I felt the fronts locked up a bit when I went over this white line, because there's less grip, so I didn't have as much braking performance. So make sure your car is off this white line, and I'm braking again a car length after this 200 marker. Maybe a bit later than a car length, maybe a car length and a half here. There you go. Brake here. Yeah, I'll take car length after the 200. Again, downshift first. downshift to second initially, and then as soon as you get it turning in, downshift to first. Again, get your right wheels. As long as your right wheels isn't on this gravel part, you can have it a bit on this right part of this curb. I felt it fine here. Aim to be about 50 mile an hour here. Be about 50-60% fall here, just to keep the car stabilized and pick up the speed slowly. You want to stay to the right here, just to maximize the left part. As soon as you get under this side, turn left. As soon as you get to this point, you want to be about 75-ish mile an hour from memory, 70 to 75 mile an hour. Get as close to this outside barrier as well. Look how close I am here. You want to use the absolute limit of the track here. As soon as you get to the 100 marker, do this very small lift and turn. Literally, that's all you saw. I'm going to replay it. So I'm going to pause it here. Just watch the throttle. So this 100 marker here, you basically want to do this double. You basically want to do this in one steering motion. So this last corner I've just shown you, you want to carry on turning to the left. And as I go past 100, you'll see me do a blip of the throttle. So I go off throttle and immediately back on it. That's enough to make this next corner easily and carry good speed. Here, as soon as you get halfway between the entry of the left-hander you just did and the 100 marker, brake, downshift to second as you turn to the right, and you want to be aiming to be about 78 mile an hour. I, unfortunately, messed this corner up pretty badly. I went a bit deep and I had to delay the throttle. I probably lost a good 10th and a half here, if I was to be honest. This corner, there's this 200 marker here and there's a 100 marker here. I'm picking about 130 here. Oh, sorry, wrong button. I'm braking basically at the start of this barrier. I think that's a very good braking reference for this corner here. So I'm braking any second now. Oh, I did brake late here, didn't I? There you go. So just past the entry of this barrier, or wall I should say, I'm braking. You want to go deep in just to have a very good line out of the corner, and you don't have much oversteer. So you want to be quite wide here. You want to be about half a car length of this outside right line here as you get to the high point of this corner here. You basically want to try stay on the outside of this yellow line until you get to around this barrier here. From that point, get as close to this apex as possible. As soon as you're here, you can start to pick up the throttle. I'd say 60-70% initially in the Ferrari. As soon as you get around this part here, you can then go flat on the throttle here. Be a bit careful of the rear stepping out a bit here. It can oversteer, but if you're careful enough of steering, you should easily be able to put the throttle aggressively there. This bit very easy flat in reverse especially. Last corner. Pretty easy braking reference here. I'm braking basically on this 200, maybe slightly after it. As you can see, I'm braking on this 200 here. As soon as I'm braking, I'm turning. You want a very early apex here because it's slightly cambered, and you want to be slowing down to about 59 mile an hour here. As soon as I see the gravel and go past it, I'm going to upshift to second and be careful on the throttle here. I'm going to initially be about 60-70% throttle. That's enough of a throttle where I can pick up the speed, still go around the corner, keep the car stabilised, and as soon as I get towards the exit, you'll see me plant the throttle down. I had a little slide here, so I probably lost half a tenth here. That's why I think that's 2 tenths of my lap time, and that's why I think a 1:45.9 is possible. The rest of the lap though, I'm extremely happy with 1:46.187. So that is time trial and the qualifying lap. Now I'm going to show you a race I did from the back of the grid earlier with commentary in the background. Cheers guys, and thank you very much.
Righty guys, so here is the race one that I'm going to show you today. So like I said, I'm going to be going from the back of the grid, and I'm going to try and get a good result from the back. As you can see, some names in the lobby. You got Caden, you got Lewis, you got Manny Roddy, so there are some quick drivers in this lobby. A bit further up, I think Antonio's in this race as well. So I'm in the Ferrari again. Now, if you remember the intro of the video, I didn't recommend this car for the race. I didn't mention it, and you'll see why later on. But basically, what I'm going to be trying to talk to you about in this race is the strap, obviously, and what I am doing to get the most pace possible, to get the best finishing time possible. So as you can see, it's like 13th, so literally I'm going to be I'm going to try and go for this, but I'm not going to like go for aggressive moves and try and lose some time. Saying that, I did try to go for a move on the Alpha. I tried to outbrake him, but he broke a bit late, and I didn't want to cause a massive pile-ups. I had to properly back out there, because if I was to carry on trying to go side by side for there, it'd be 3 wide, and because I'm going such a narrow line, I'd probably knock someone out of the track, and yes, not the whole responsibility would be on me. However, there would be someone there. As you can see, people are just going for massive moves way too early in the race. I did kind of push Prime Minister out wide a bit there, to be fair. I apologise for that, but at the same time, I had nothing on my inside. I needed no more space, and he definitely didn't leave me enough space to make it 3 wide out of so, partially my fault, but at the same time, there's not much I could have done about that. That's lucky. Honestly, I didn't know if he was going for a move or not, or he just missed the braking point. I think it was his first race. I couldn't understand if that was just a misreference to where he should be stopping at Alcon. But anyway, now I've got a little gap ahead of me. I'm going to talk to you about where I'm tyre saving. So the biggest tyre saving corners for me, in my opinion, is actually before I get into that, I'll mention tyres for what side of tyres you mainly need to look after. So since this track is which way around is it? Anti-clockwise. Your white tyres will be the ones that are hurting on this track because you are having to do more left corners, and because you're having to do more left corners, your right tyre will have to travel further and turn more to get around the corner, so that is why the right side of the tyres will get hurt more. Now, the main tyre you want to try and preserve is the front right tyre, because you can't do too much to save rear tyres on this game. The only thing you can really do with your rear tyres in this game is to, well, not have too much fast direction changes, so you need to limit your steering in fast corners. Well, fast corners, especially in the corners where you have to move left to right at a pretty quick rate. The only other thing you can really do with rear tyres is to limit oversteer and keep it stabilised. So when I say that, try to brake in a straight line, try not to have oversteer out of corners, especially slow speed corners, and just try to be consistent basically without trying to overdrive the car. That's all you can really do with rear tyres. With the front tyres you can do a lot more. So in my opinion there's 2 or 3 ways to save front tyres in this game. First of all, I'm probably the one I least use, to be honest, is braking. So what you want to be trying to do is trying to brake 90%. The reason for that is because if you brake 100%, the car will tend to understeer as you try to turn into the corners. So you need to limit your braking, especially when you start to turn into the corner. As you can see, I've done a 48.0 there. A decent race lap, with an overtake as well, from memory. So, not a bad time. Mr. Alf had an incident there, so I had to massively lift, and luckily I just got left enough space to go around the outside of him, so shout out to the Spaniard there. You could very easily like block me. Not like deliberately, but just because of the way the track goes, you could easily block the racing line. I had nowhere else to go, and he could have caused a massive accident. So, shout out to him for leaving the space of respect there. To leave the car width from the outside. It's actually pretty difficult to do that once you've had an incident there, because you have to very quickly adjust to where you are on track and let the other side. So you did very well there. But now let me carry on with my tyre saving suggestions / tips. So first method I mentioned was braking. So like I said, especially for slow speed corners, you want to initially brake at like 95% even, just to try not to put as much weight to the front as possible, and to make your car turn slightly easier. But more than that, basically as you start to like properly get into the corner, you want to trail brake very, not slowly, but very like progressively, down to like eventually like 20% before you completely get off the brakes. That way you're slowing down enough for a corner and you're not putting a lot of load into the front tyres still. So that is one way to save tyres. Second way, and probably the most efficient way of saving tyres in this game in general, is basically you want to tyre save on the faster and longer corners. So my biggest tyre saving corners I'll go through now is turn 1. You'll see I take turn 1 and turn 3 slower than most people. The reason I'm doing that is because I'm not having confidence in this course. It's because I know that is where you can easily save the most tyres on this track, because at fast sweeping corners So the less steering you're doing there, the less strain and effort you're putting into the front tyre. So you want to try limit your steering in those corners as much as possible. If you save more in those corners, you're able to not like rise for temperatures too much in the front tyres, and you're also able to potentially push a bit more on the upper sections of the track, just because you have that little cushion where you save the tyres in sector 1 compared to most other people, but you're able to push in the upper corners to try catch back up or overtake, etc. So that's my second and most important tips. Let me just quickly go over each corners and tyre saving mostly on. So turn 1, I'm putting about 20 to 30% steering in those corners. Same with turn 3. Turn 2 again, you want to try limit the steering in an MR. You don't want to turn. I sort of mentioned it in the time trial lap, or detailed lap guide I should say. But you want to limit your steering in the faster corners because of the weight distribution of these MR cars. Because they've got a lot of weight in the rear. If you turn aggressively from left to right, the rear will snap a bit and side about a bit, just because it's not had enough time for the weight to like settle. Like you don't have enough. There's not enough time for the weight to like keep it stabilized. I don't really know how to describe it, but basically, if you turn fast from one direction to another, the rear will just snap a bit and you'll slide a bit. So because you're sliding, you are putting more heat into the tyres, so you can have more time. And plus you'll probably have to counter steer, so you're hitting the upper tyre on top of that as well. So turn 1, turn 3, obviously braking for turn 4 a bit as well, so the first part of the chicane. I'm tyre saving a bit in this hairpin for coming up now, so I'd like to try limit my braking as much as possible. I like to try and coast the car in, and after I put the power down, I try to put a bit less steering in as well, just because again, I'm starting to pick up the speed. I don't want to put more stress onto the front right tyre as I'm picking up the speed. I'm starting to understeer as I pick up the throttle with these sort of understeery physics in this game. I'm also tyre saving the next left-hander after the hairpin, and then here in this hairpin I'm tyre saving a bit because my weakness is braking the slow speed corners. I don't trail brake enough. I usually hold a bit too much braking input as I slow down for the slow speed corners. That's probably my biggest weakness at the moment, so I like to try limit the braking for the hairpin as well. After the hairpin, if you stay as far to the right as possible, you can limit the steering for this left part of this corner, as I think I make a very nice move from looking down there. I know that the McLaren had really slow acceleration, so I decided to not dive bomb, but have a little look on the inside, just to try, you know, force him to leave me enough space on the inside so I could nip up on the inside and out traction him, or out accelerate him up the hairpin. Because I know the 4A has much better acceleration compared to the McLaren. So, carrying on with tyre saving. So, the corner after the hairpin, the first hairpin, or the hairpin in the middle sector, I am trying to limit the steering in the left parts, so both the left parts, and then the right part you can usually take about. I like to still tyre save a touch there, just to try and have a little bit of front left at the end of the race, to try and break a bit later than the opponents at the end of the race. Right after that hairpin, again I want to try limit the braking. I like to take a wider line in the race as well, because since you're going more uphill, the car will slow down more, so you don't have to rely on the brakes as much, so you can lift off the brakes slightly earlier. And since you're taking a wider line, you can take a bit more speed in the actual corner. As you can see, I put the brake bars to -5 because I've noticed now we are just about again halfway through lap 6. I've got about 50 and maybe even 55% of rear tyre wear already, so I already knew I was in a big trouble in this Ferrari. But more on that later. So after the hairpin, you've got the fast left, which is easy flat. I like to try and limit my steering as much as possible there, because you're picking up the speed. So you may see me when I'm behind people, I don't turn quite as much as them. I tend to go a bit more to the right compared to them. That's just because I'm trying to tyre save. That's not because of me understeering or anything. That's just me trying to tyre save as much as possible. And in the last corner, I don't really know how to tyre save that corner properly. I don't know if it's better to take a bit narrow line and try limit your apex speed, or to take a wider line and try to limit steering. probably the second option's better if you can do it properly. Kind of like this lap, I think I did it very well in this particular lap. If you try to do it the way I did it, I think that is probably the best way to save the tyres in that corner without losing as much time as possible. So those are, in my opinion, the way to save the tyres in this combo. Your main priority for this is tyre save as much in sector 1 as possible in these fast sweeping corners where I am at now. If you tyre safe in those corners, you are looking good. I didn't actually really talk about strat, so if you've noticed, none of us have pitted here, maybe except 1 or 2 people. That's because it isn't a mandatory pit stop, so we want to try and do a no stop in this race, because if you pit, you lose, I think, at least 20 seconds in the race, and you've only got 5 or 6 laps to make up those 20 seconds, so you'd have to, on average, gain over 3 seconds a lap, which is just not going to happen. Because as you can see now, on lap 6, I still did a 49.3 with an overtake, and which is only 1.4 seconds off the fastest lap, and that wasn't even a good lap, so there's just no way that the opponent pitting is going to catch you up if you manage to save the tyres properly. As you can see, we are within 3.5 seconds of Key, who is leading right now as well. I believe in this race he's in the McLaren, which is another good car on tyres, but I do think it's not the best car in terms of 1 lap pace, just because it doesn't have good acceleration out of slippery corners, which you especially need out of this corner coming out now, because it's uphill. You need as much acceleration to get up to speed as possible, which is Ferrari's, probably the Ferrari's biggest strength in all honesty. It's got really good early acceleration, just because, especially for a naturally aspirated engine, it's got good power in the low revs, which is very important at that corner. Because if you're in first gear in this car, you'd basically be maxing out first gear already, and you'll just lose time on the exit. Which is only second. As you can see, it's 3 wide ahead right now, which is very good for me, because that should hopefully get me back in the slipstream, which Spark's very ahead of me, who's also in a Ferrari. So if I can get into a slipstream, I can try and tyre save a bit more, or go for a move on him, depending on the gaps ahead of him, etc. And, you know, the position where I am, the exits I'm getting, etc. Antonio in second got a penalty. I believe he got that somewhere in the third sector because he didn't take it this lap. So he probably got it on the right part of this first sector, if I was to guess. But anyway, as you can see right now, I've got about 20% rear set, and I've got 3.5 laps to do, which is not good. That is why I did not recommend the Ferrari in the intro video, because the rear is just not going to make it. Yes, I didn't use -5 brake bias from the beginning, but I didn't really oversteer at all in this race, until you'll see later, obviously when my tyres are dead. I didn't really have any oversteer moments. I tyre saved in the corners I mentioned I was tyre saving in. It's just the rears are still going because there's just so much weight in the rear of this car compared to its competitors. Except Citroen. The Citroen has a lot of weight in the rear as well, or a lot of weight distribution in the rear as well. That just looks after its tyres better. Don't really know why. I don't know if it's light or anything. It just has better tyre wear in general. Maybe setup has something to do with it as well, because it's more understeery in general. That might have something to do with it, but anyway, I'm not exactly sure why it has better tyre wear, but that's just why I wouldn't recommend the Ferrari in this race. So if you remember the intro video, I mentioned there was 5 or 6 good cars to use in the race. I picked those cars because those are the tyres where the rear of the tyre will make it to the end of the race. Maybe except 4C, I'm actually not 100% sure what the 4C is like on tyres, to be honest, but I will give it a go at some point maybe. But I do know the front tyre wear of the Alpha is good, but like I said with the other cars, I know the rear tyres for those cars will make it, and they are good on front tyre wear as well. Maybe except Master, but if you're able to look after the tyres in the Master, it will have very good pace at the end of the race. So that's why I did recommend the Master. I'd maybe consider Master the anti-meta for this race personally. It's probably not the best time trial car, but if you're able to look after the tyres in the race in the Master, you'll have a good advantage at the end of the race over some cars, just because everybody is able to look after its rear tyres, since it's got a little bit more weight towards the front of the car compared to the rear of the MR cars, just because it's got the engine towards the front of the car on the front axis, etc. Or front axle, not front axle, sorry. So we've got 2.5 laps left. We are with the leaders now at least. The tyres aren't looking good, even my front tyres isn't looking as good anymore. That's probably because I decided to drive a touch more aggressively with the front tyres, just because I noticed that I had really good front tyres. Probably doesn't help I've got -5 brake tyres on as well. But yeah, as you can see, I'm being very cautious on the throttle now because I know my rear is about to go any moment now. So the more I can preserve it, the better I'm looking towards the end of the race, especially compared to Sparks Ferry in the same car. If I can outmanage the tyres a bit more than him, then I know I'll be able to get him at some point. So that was my main priority. In case you aren't aware, the main priority for this race is tyre saving. If you can tyre save, especially in the lower lobbies, if you are able to tyre save compared to your competitors and do a no stop, it's basically a free win for you, because I can't see the lowest bit drivers managing these tyres as well, just because they're more inconsistent in general, so they're probably putting more steering into the corners where you need to, when you don't need to, sorry. So if you're able to look after your tyres in even B rank lobbies, maybe even A rank lobbies, you are in a fantastic position, not only for his combo first week, but in general. If you're able to learn how to tyre save on this track, you're going to do very well in tyre wear races, because in my opinion this track is not the easiest to save tyres, because there's a lot of slow to medium speed corners where you still need quite a lot of steering angle to get the car actually turned in. If you're able to tyre save in those tracks, you'll easily be able to tyre save on tracks like Spa, Willow Springs, Watkins Glen, just because they've got a lot more high speed along their corners. If you take the main principle of tyre saving from this race and apply them to the other tracks, you're going to do really well in those races. So in my opinion, even if you're not massive fan of this track, this isn't my favourite track. This is far from my favourite track. I think it flows alright, I just don't think it's great for racing. However, I'm still going to do quite a bit of this race because I want to try and enjoy this track more. I want to learn this track more, and I want to learn tyre saving more. Because if I am able to get better at tyre saving, I do think I'm getting close to the absolute maximum that is possible with the controller, which is what I want to achieve at the end of the day. So we're heading to the last lap now. I decided to go for a move on Sparks Ferry because I thought I would have better tyres. Sorry, I thought I'd have better tyres compared to Sparks Ferry, judging based on the last lap that just happened. I didn't go defensive here because I knew Manuel was probably going to go for a move on Sparks, so I stayed to the right because I would leave Sparks with not much choice other than to bump draft me. If I was to move to the left towards Manuel, he could have still gone for a move on the inside of me, so there would have been a lot of space. So that's why I stayed to the right here. It worked out beautifully because Sparks Ferry had to bump draft me, and as you can see now, I am very slowly downshifting because I felt it in the first chicane that the rear was just snapping as soon as I started to turn right with a fast direction changing chicane. So I knew by now I had to be really careful on the downshifts, because if I was to slowly downshift, I'm not putting up with as much torque to my rear tyres as I'm downshifting, which is why you're seeing me exit in higher gears. You're starting to see me downshift a lot slower, just to try and keep as much of weight off the rear as much as possible of my rear tyres. Basically, I'm trying to limit the power and torque in those tyres. As you can see now, Antonio's taking the lead and he's actually pulling away. That's probably because he managed to save the tyres really well in the Master. If you can save the tyres really well in the Master, it's just got really good pace. I used the Master the first two races I did of this. The first race, honestly, I pitted because I thought it was a mandatory pit stop. It wasn't, so I finished like 7th, even though most of the lobby was A rated. But because I pitted and there was a few incidents, I could only get back up to 7th in that particular race. Second race I did in the Master, I got 2nd. I tyre saved very well. I had good rears on my fronts, had about 5% left. I could have done slightly better. But anyway, end of the race now. The tyres are gone. I drifted the last corner and I managed to hold on to it and get 3rd. So that is the end of the video, guys. I would appreciate a like and a sub as well. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in a live stream later this week. See you later, guys. Thank you.